Hey there neighbors, Kevin here with eTrailer, and today we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the Gen-Y Hitch Nomad Gooseneck to fifth wheel pin box here on our 2017 Jayco Eagle fifth wheel trailer. If you're like our neighbor today and you hate having that big bulky fifth wheel hitch in the bed of your truck and you don't like taking it out every single time that you want to use your truck for anything else, and if you're the person where you're a weekend warrior with the camper but an everyday worker with the truck, it's kind of a hassle to swap back and forth all the time, especially when you have a gooseneck hitch like our neighbor does today with the B&W Turnoverball. So the solution is going to be swapping out that standard fifth wheel pin box over to the Gen-Y Nomad, which is going to give them the ability to easily just hook up to that gooseneck ball without needing any other attachments. The Nomad is going to be just a standard style pin box. There's no additional cushioning or anything else, any other kind of mechanics really built into this, but it still is going to function exactly the same as the rest of the pin boxes that Gen-Y offers. If you look here, we've got our funnel that we're going to be dropping down on top of our gooseneck ball, and then on the driver's side we do have a latch, just like with the rest of the other options out there. This one specifically, we can drop straight onto the ball and we don't have to actually unlatch it first. It will pop itself over and then relatch itself over the ball, so it makes it just a much simpler install. Now when it is time to take it off, you will have to go to the back and pull on this cable. I know Gen-Y does offer a grabber that you can use. It's essentially just a hook that you can keep, and that'll help reach up into there, because for me it was a little bit harder with that being a dually truck that we were using today. It kind of took up a lot of space. It was really hard to get into there because there's not a lot of clearance between our tailgate and bumper versus the nose of our trailer here. So like I said, all we would do is latch this back, and this will actually lock itself into place like you can hear right there and be in the coupling mode. Now with our pin box, you're going to have a 30,000 pound gross towing weight capacity as well as a 6,500 pin weight capacity. Now everyone pretty much understands the gross towing weight capacity, but not everybody understands the pin weight capacity. Pin weight capacity is going to be the weight of the pin forcing down on the bed. So that's all your essentially tongue weight, but with fifth wheels we instead call it pin weight. Now there's a lot of ways to determine what your pin weight is. The most accurate way is to measure when you're at a truck stop scale with the trailer coupled and uncoupled, so that way you can see what the difference is. And then Gen-Y has a separate way where they just multiply the GVWR of your trailer by 0.22, so that way you're getting 22% of it. And if you don't know where your GVWR is listed, it should be on the driver's side, right at the beginning of the trailer, usually just right past that first compartment door, if not right at the very front. So just take a quick glance at that, do your math there, make sure that this is going to be capable of handling that pin weight. But with a 6,500 pound capacity, this should be pretty good for most trailers out there on the market. Aside from that, you will also need to pick up some safety chains, because these will not be included with the pin box. They don't know exactly which length you're going to need or which size or weight capacity, so it does come down to you figuring that out yourself. These ones, super nice from Gen-Y, make it real easy. Just pop out the pin on there and you can get these popped through the cutouts that are in the side of the box. Once it's all done and in place, whenever you're not towing it, they actually put a nice little cutout on the inside at the bottom here of our box, so that way we can hook those right on, so these aren't dragging on the ground. When we're backing the truck in, we don't have to worry about these banging up and denting the bed or maybe hitting the tailgate or the bumper there, because they have a nice spot to just kind of clamp onto, unlike a lot of other pin boxes that are out there on the market. Now the other important factor here in terms of fitment is going to be our bolt pattern. We need to make sure that this is actually going to bolt up and match the same pattern that our trailer is designed with. Now, if you don't know exactly which pattern you have, if you look at the mounting ears, or sometimes even up on the nose itself, Lippert will place a sticker. This is your frame sticker here, and this says a serial number, it has an LCI item number, and it also has an RPO number. With those three numbers, we can then look up the trailer's frame and figure out exactly what the bolt pattern was for that pin box. In our case today, I already knew what it was because this is an older pin box that was on here, and I actually had it listed as 1621 on it. Now this one will fit a few different bolt patterns, but there are some other options out there like the Rhino, which this one will not. So you will want to make sure that you're picking out the correct one, so that way when it comes to your house and you go to put it on, it's actually going to fit. Now if you're having problems figuring out what your bolt pattern is, what's going to be the right capacity, how this is all going to fit together, then definitely feel free to reach out to us, and you can leave a comment on this video. You can reach out to our experts via our Ask the Experts link, or you can even reach out to us via phone call to our customer service department, and we'd be happy to help walk you through figuring out exactly what you need to to make sure that you are getting the right product for your trailer. But with all that being said, the install is a little heavy. This isn't something where it's really mentally taxing, but it is physically taxing just because these pin boxes are a lot of weight. So you will want to make sure that you have some kind of heavy equipment or a lot of people around that are really strong to help lift this into place for you and to get the old one out. Now with this one being the standard pin box and not all the extra torsion stuff, it's a tiny bit less weight than some of the other Gen-Y ones, but like I said, this can be pretty heavy and you don't want this falling down on you. So definitely if this is something that's going to scare you, or you just know flat out, hey, this isn't something I can do myself, feel free to use our dealer locator, and then you can enter in your zip code to find a shop near you and get it professionally installed. Now if you are wanting to do this yourself, or you are that install technician, please stick around and I'll help walk you through the process. To begin our install, we're going to have to first remove our pin box, and before we start taking out the bolts, it is super important that you kind of get back there and take a look at all of your wiring. Make sure that none of that's going to get caught, because sometimes the way it gets mounted or the way the junction box gets mounted, it can sometimes be drilled right into the pin box instead of the mounting ears. So take a look back there real quick. Just make sure you're not going to get anything pinched on that. In my case, my pin box is not going to affect my wiring. I should be good to go, so I can just start popping out these bolts. Now what I'll do first is take all of the nuts loose, and then with the second set of hands we can kind of take some of that pressure off by lifting up on the pin box and pop each one of those bolts out. Now one other thing I'd recommend doing is taking a paint marker and just marking the location of your bolts, just so that way we can make sure we're putting it right back in the same one. Now for mine today, I'm going to be needing a 15/16 socket and wrench. Yours might differ a little bit though. Like I said, I'm just getting each one of these nuts loose. And now we can get our other side. Okay, now we're down to just 2 bolts. We've got one on each side, and that's what's holding all the tension. You can see, well actually I guess it's just that one on the left over here that's really holding it in, and probably just our mounting ears, just because they probably painted it afterwards based on what I'm seeing here. So at that point, if you get all the bolts out and it's still not wanting to come out, take a pry bar. I'd probably come at it from the back side so that way you don't see all the scratches up front, but then you can kind of pry up into here and separate the two. But right now I know for sure I got at least tension on this bolt, so I'm going to try to wiggle it, and we'll keep one hand on it. Thank you, Aiden. And then we can just kind of try to shift it down. There we go. Got it?
Yep.
All right, now's a good time. Take your wire brush, just kind of clean this out. I wouldn't really say to paint it, just because you're going to end up having that get all scratched up when you set the next pin box in there. So anything you can do, just kind of clean off any corrosion or rust that's built up on there, or any paints that's kind of flaked a bit would be good. I've got 2 ladyfinger style pry bars, and what that means is that it's just a little bit thinner, so that way we can use these to kind of move it around. That'll be able to stick through the holes, not only in our pin box, but also in our mounting ears as well. And I grabbed 2 of them, so that way I can kind of maneuver it around, on top of having Joe over here on our forklift. He's got this to where he can kind of adjust it as well, and then I have Aiden as extra backup so we can get all of this in place. This is a point where it's just going to take a lot of patience. It's a lot of kind of back and forth, moving things just a little by little until it just perfectly lines up. So this might take you a little bit longer than what it's looking like while we're doing it, but just have some patience. All right, a little bit up. I think we are good. We're almost there. Let me kind of maneuver it a little bit with the lady fingers. So right now, let me come on this side so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. To maneuver this around, you stick it in any one of those holes, and you can kind of pick up or pry a certain way to get each one of these lined up. Now I'm going to stick some in the back here real quick. Grab a couple of our bolts. We've also got a washer, and actually this front one is lined up. I might as well just stick that in there right now. Back one here, I might need to pry a little. Once you get one in, that'll make it easier for the other one to pop in as well. We've got one more over here. And now I'm going to do the other side. All right, at this point, I've got all the bolts in. I don't have all the nuts on it yet. I'm gonna get one on here first, and then we can drop this out of the way and give ourselves some more room to work. I'm not torquing it, I'm just simply snugging it down for right now. Now I can pull this strap off. And we can have Joe pull this pallet out of the way. Our hardware was a split lock washer and then a nut on the inside here, so we're going to be reusing that. Run that down. Once you have it in place and snug down, we can now torque it. And I'm going to crisscross it here. Step is going to be getting our chains in place. I've already taken this apart. It's going to have a little cotter pin running through the actual pin itself that runs through our clevis, that also runs through our chain. So we're going to pop one of those off. So just kind of bend the tab back straight on that cotter pin. Get your clevis pin out, set that aside, and then we're just going to pass this through. We'll get this over to our other side. And we want it to be about even. So at this point, I'm going to put my clevis pin back in. Take that, pop that cotter pin back in, and then we'll bend one of the tabs on it out. That way it can't back out. That looks about even to me. So that's all ready for us to hook up. Now, if I was not wanting to hook up, maybe I put it in storage. There is an opening on the back. I can just pop the clevis onto, and that'll keep it from just dangling low to the ground. We are all ready to hook up because our bolts are torqued, so we have that physical connection completely ready, and we have our safety chains all ready to go. The next part is going to be just backing up to it. I've got my gooseneck ball in place. That is also pinned, so just double check, make sure that you have it locked as well. And then I'm going to have a second person kind of guide me, just because I can't fully see where the ball is, just because we've got a tonneau cover that is just blocking that first fourth of our bed here. So I can kind of gauge where I'm at just looking through the back window, but I can't fully see the ball to know when exactly to stop. So I'm going to have John shout for me, and he'll tell me when to stop, obviously. So I'm going to back it up right now. Just make sure that when you are backing it up, you have somebody making sure that that tailgate's down for you, so that way you don't end up hitting it with the pin box, and then making sure that you have your landing gears up high enough, so that way you're not going to end up hitting the ball just trying to back up into the pin box. All right, now we've made the physical connection, we need to get in the bed and also do our safety chains, our breakaway, and then also our electric. We'll pop in our 7-way back here. And then we're gonna go on a little test drive. So we've drove around the lot a little bit and kind of got a feel for it. Now with this, there's no cushioning involved, just because this is just a standard pin box. It's a standard replacement where it's just going to switch you over from that kingpin to that gooseneck. So still going to have a little bit of chucking, still going to have a little bit of vibration and rebound and stuff like that just from bumps in the road. But overall, it's pretty much exactly the same as having that pin box, but now we have a whole lot less weight in our bed because we don't have that fifth wheel hitch in there, and we have a lot more room. So we can stick a little bit more in there and not have to worry about it potentially getting hit by the pin box, whereas before we had that fifth wheel hitch just really taking up a big spot in there. So with all that being said, that is going to do it for our look at and install of the Gen-Y Hitch Nomad Gooseneck to fifth wheel pin box here on our 2017 Jayco Eagle Fifth Wheel trailer.